On February 19, 2025, approximately 30% of faculty and staff were fired at University College Roosevelt, one of Utrecht University's liberal arts and sciences colleges in the Netherlands. Of faculty fired, more than 85% were humanities and social science scholars. Of the disciplines totally removed from the curriculum, almost all were part of the humanities and social sciences, including anthropology. The university justified their decision by stating that the so-called redundant fields of knowledge were no longer profitable. The decision to reorganize fundamentally overrides the college's original liberal arts and sciences principles. Since university executives closed and locked the college prior to announcing the restructuring, this impromptu lecture of protest was delivered outside, on Helm Square, just a few meters away from the room where the mass firings were taking place. Anthropology professor John Friedman proceeded to integrate his own firing into the middle of this lecture.
Hello, Middelburg! Say hello! Middelburg is also part of University College Us. As far as I know, I mean, in my opinion, in your opinion, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Right. I want to start my lecture with this, an introduction. We gotta talk. We really do. And it's really a beautiful day in Middelburg, and it's a beautiful day to be here and to be human together. We are being human together. And that's the only way to be human, together. I was talking about that the other day, for those of you that were here. And we're here in the last remaining classroom of our university for today. This is our classroom. We are here. They have locked the doors. All of our other classrooms, first they took down a few walls. I pointed that out. They got rid of the small ones. And then they locked all the buildings. And this is the last official classroom that remains open. Yep. But here's the thing. Here's the problem. University College Us is not these beautiful buildings, which are really beautiful. It's not. And it's also not this little last remaining official classroom of this campus. Right? University College Us is not a bunch of buildings. It's an idea. And you can't lock the door of an idea. That's impossible. Right? So here we are in maybe the last remaining space of our campus, but it's not, don't worry, it's fine. University College Us is an idea, it's not a building, and you can't just close the doors and say there's no more University College Us. So I was welcoming us here today. Most of you are students, but we're now outside of our quiet, usual spaces, and so the us has to become bigger. So here we are now, in Middelburg, with other humans who want to be human together with us. So the message that you all have been trying to get out will just go a little bit farther today. And the louder you are right now, the bigger us become, because us is out there. They're not quite sure you're here yet. They want to know what's happening here, and they will be here in a minute if you just get a little bit loud and let them know that we are here still. Woo! Woo! here yet, that is not a problem, because those other us's, they're actually already here. And I hear from the students who are doing this story that we already have new facilities for the University College us. Hello, wife. Okay, so this cold lecture, this is going to be the coldest lecture I ever give, but it will get warmer. And someone out there, there's a student somewhere who has collected the list of the other us's who have already decided to join your movement. Who's got that list? Could you please come up here and announce to us how much bigger us actually is? Come here. Yes.
Okay, first of all, I did not myself single-handedly make this list. I participated in making it, and I have been running around, but there's been so many people running around, and I'm not even gonna go into saying how amazing every single person running around and not running around and just even giving a piece of their mind today has been. I'll just read the list. So, in this short time, and I mean this short time that we have been collecting the list, we have found the Zeeuwse Bibliotheek, the library. We have not only heard from them that they will open their facilities for lectures, for individual work, they are also organizing study workshops for students today at 6. Please utilize this space and that time, because what they're doing is amazing, and the people there working on giving us extended study space tonight and tomorrow until 9, which the board was very hesitant to do as it is an expensive and time-consuming thing. They still agreed to do it for us. On the list, I also see 77 potentially.
Yes.
The spot potentially, but certainly Engelse Kerk. Cinema Middelburg. El Corazon. I also know, as a matter of fact, that there are people, just not public entities, not Middelburg, gemeente organizations, just private individuals willing to let students use their houses, start houses. This document will be made available for professors who can then sign up and put their names in the time slots that they want to teach the lectures. And meeting rooms also will be available. Anything else I need to add? I don't think so. But it was all for us, and there's a hand up.
We nearly have enough space to facilitate all classes on Friday if the professors were willing to teach.
Thank you to all of us.
I also received word that Nihilania High School has offered classroom space to use. Now this is a really interesting. They get a special shout out. Why? Because UC Us has had such a difficult time attracting those Nihilania students. And for good reason, because if you grow up in Middelburg, of course you don't want to study in Middelburg. No, that's crazy. But when those students hear about what you're doing, and when they meet you, and they come into contact with you, and they share with you, they will understand what type of place you have built right in their backyard. I promise you. So thank you to Nihilania High School for having us. So I want to make my first declaration of the day. I declare University College Us is now officially in exile. Learning is not about beautiful buildings that have doors and small spaces that can be locked. And that's not what education is about either. We don't need the classrooms. We love the buildings, but we don't need them. Education is a space. It's a space to be together. It's a space to explore. It doesn't matter whether it's on a walk or in a place like this or in a cafe or anywhere. We can learn and educate ourselves anywhere we want. And just because the doors are locked doesn't mean that that process can and should stop. Okay. I want to say something else about my field and your field. I think I was trying to argue, because I am an anthropologist, but I was trying to argue that we're all anthropologists last Thursday, right? And I see some of my students, but a lot of you I don't know, and you don't know me or us anthropologists. But the short way to answer what anthropologists do is that we ask big questions. And we ask big questions, and because they're so big, it's really almost impossible to answer them. So we do the best we can, and we go to a very small place in order to explore that big question. That's how we learn. We ask big questions in small places. And what happens to people...
I'm here.
You're here.
I watched them.
All right. What happens to people who go to small places with big questions is that they meet people living in those small places, and they get changed by those small places. Small places change anthropologists, they change people, and they change the world. Woo! Small places matter. And what I want to say is that this small place matters. And this small place changes people too. It changes people who come from big places, for example. Much bigger places than this little place. This little university in this little town, on this little island in this little country. Yeah. At this little time. Small places change the world, and they change us when we come together in little places. The crazy thing about this little place is that it brings together so many people from so many other big and little places. In this little place, lots of big ideas are thought about, talked about, with people, most of whom aren't from this little place, but have come to this little place to think about those big ideas together, to share, to connect, to find one another, to ask big questions in this little small place. That's what we do here. And it's important. And that's what us anthropologists do, and what you liberal arts and sciences students do every single day. And it's funny, I'm standing here. I come from Fatima, do I come from a little place? I'd say so. Okay. I come from a little place. A little place in a so-called big place. And now I'm standing here in this little place, and I look around and I see Eleanor Roosevelt, I see Theodore Roosevelt, and I see Franklin Roosevelt. 3 people. You know what? This is weird. Because those 3 people are descendants, kinship theorists, open your ears. They are descendants of people who come from this little place. It's amazing. Little places matter. These 3 people would not be here if it weren't for this little place. And they left this little place. They were here, and their family was here, and they were touched by this place, and they left this place, and they went somewhere else, which became a big place, and they had some pretty big ideas. For example, like human rights. For example, like the freedom of speech. I am up here speaking freely because some people from this little place who were affected by this little place went to another place, helped make it big, and then brought me back the right to stand up here and express myself freely.
Woo!
Little places matter. And us anthropologists, and you anthropologists, know that. Yeah, God. And that brings me back to my little place. It reminds me of my little place, and it reminds me of when I was about 5 years younger than most of you are in my little place. Where's Franz? Is Franz here? I don't think he's here. He knows what I'm talking about. My colleague Franz. Are you here? He's not here. I wish you were here. Okay, let me tell you. I came from a little place. And I know you probably think this guy is an old guy, but Bruce Springsteen. You know that guy?
Woo!
He inspired me when I was young in my little place. And, you know, he's an American. Like, a lot of open road, a lot of cars in his music, a lot of freedom from cars in his music. Like, you know, open road, you know, girlfriend, get the hell out of this place. Baby, I was born to run. Yeah. It's like, that was like, my exit from my little place was Springsteen and his cars. And I say that because for those of you who were at my lecture on Thursday, I had a really interesting car story to recount. You remember that story?
Woo!
Who hasn't heard that story? Okay, let me tell you. Let me tell you the story. The story was like this, and it's a true story. You didn't hear my lecture, but like it was like an academic lecture, right? And the argument that I was trying to make academically was that, well, I sort of declared the post-human era open for business, right? And the post-human era is an era of us humans, after having defeated nature, turning to defeat the next best contender, that being Homo sapiens sapiens, right? And the argument was that it seems to me in the world today that we are actively undermining what it is that makes us as a species human, right? And I went through that list. I talked about the thumb, and I talked about communication, and we really need to talk, by the way, if anyone's listening. And I talked about sociability, and I talked about habit and adaptation, all those things, and our brains. And then I looked out into the world, and I saw and I see things that are seemingly trying to undermine and take away all those species-specific gifts that have made us what we are as a species. We are no longer communicating. We are no longer able to be social. We are not using our brains but ChatGPT, et cetera, et cetera. That was sort of the argument I was trying to make. And as I was thinking about how I was going to make that argument, this is my story. I'm actually telling you the story. On our way into work on Thursday.
Monday.
Was it Monday? I'm getting absent-minded. It was on Monday. And my wife and I were driving down the A58 heading to this little place. And I was telling her, you know, in addition to being mostly late, I drive slowly. Not slowly. I stick to the speed limit. Right? And I was driving down the A58 with my wife, the two of us. The two of us. The two of us. We're driving down A58. And we're driving. I'm driving 102, cruise control, sticking to the rules that we have set for us. Because I don't want to hit anybody. I want us to all be okay, so I don't want to drive dangerously. That's what you always tell me. Okay, so, driving down. I'm thinking Springsteen, but I'm not really feeling free. I'm not running yet. But suddenly this black BMW flies past us on the left. This is a true story. And I told it, you heard it. And as I, looked up, I caught a glimpse of something. And it was its license plate. And the license plate had only 2 letters on it, M and E. It said me. So us was driving at 100 kilometers an hour, and me thought, fuck all of them, forget the rules, the laws, I'm gonna go 120. So me flies past. And I just couldn't believe it. It was like, I'm thinking about this stuff all weekend long. How do I say this? That us is losing out to me in the world. Not just here in this little place, but everywhere. We are giving up on us because we want me to win. Okay, there was one part of that, now you're all up to speed. There's one part of that story that I left out. I saw something a little bit more than just the license plate, I have to admit. I saw the driver, and I saw the passenger, and I saw less well who was in the back seat. You know who was driving that car at 120 friggin' miles an hour? It wasn't miles, it was kilometers. Where am I? Kilometers an hour. Take a guess. It's a really, who said that? It's a fantastic guess. You're almost right. Etienne was in the passenger seat. I swear, he was there. Who was driving the bloody BMW? Who?
Chef.
Say it louder.
Chef.
You're right. It was Chef and Etienne driving from a big place. Maybe it was from Utrecht, I don't know. But they were driving from a big place to this little place at 120 kilometers an hour, not giving a you-know-what about the other citizens and pedestrians on the road. It's true. And there were some people in the back seat of that car. I didn't see exactly who it was.
Don't be shy, name drop.
Huh?
Don't be shy, name drop.
No, I'm not name dropping because I don't know who was there, but there were some of my colleagues in the back seat of the car. I'm pretty sure, but I'm not sure. But you know what? I'll tell you something. They were in handcuffs. They were not in the back seat of the car on purpose.
It was for the dean, I think.
I don't know who it was. I have no idea. Okay. So, given that part of the story, and given my bigger argument about the dangers of allowing me to defeat us, I thought that, if we don't want to call people by their names, which we often do because we are referring all the time to the EB when we're really talking about another human being whose name is Chef and another human being whose name is Etienne. We don't like to use their names for some reason. I don't know why. Okay, fair enough. But we don't need to call them by their names. But The second thing I wish to declare today is that if you're not comfortable calling people by their names, and you're not comfortable calling of saying chef and Etienne, and therefore you're in the tendency or the habit of saying the EB, I declare that actually we shouldn't be talking about the EB anymore, but we should be talking about the ME, the me. That's what was on the car they were driving. So I am no longer talking about the EB, I am talking about the ME, the me. And here we are in this little place, and the ME is somehow trying to transcend us. University College us. So here we are again, in that same old problem with modern times. We're trying to defeat us. And I think we should keep that in mind. Now, this has been a very long introduction, but last time I gave 5. This is my first introduction only. I think now it's time to explain this learning session. And my students gave me a challenge. Because the challenge, I don't know, I have this way. When I write, I always start with the title. It's just how I work. I sometimes tell my students, just write the title and then write the paper after, it'll come with it. So I challenged my students. I said, this is the University College of us. This is your university. What do you want to hear me talk about today? I said, come on, let's play. Let's challenge me. Give me a title of my lecture, and I will give you a lecture. It's like speed lecturing. So, who has got that? They've prepared a title, so we're going to hear what the title is. Come up here and just come on, tell me the title.
So we thought long and hard, obviously, and our proposed title for your lecture is going to be One Big Question, One Big Idea in this Small Place. Another introduction.
Oh my God. Okay, I accept your challenge. Let me think for a minute here.
What happened to speed lecturing?
Well, there's a secret message embedded in this title, which I can't see because I don't know where my glasses are. Good luck and thank you for everything. Good luck with this lecture. Signed by your anthro nerds. Let's see. Okay. One big question, one big idea in this small place. Another introduction. One big question. Here we are in this small place. I have to come up with a big question. I come up with big questions every day. One big question. Okay, this isn't my big question. This is the introduction to my big question. What do you guys learn about your first semester here when you take academic writing and communication?
Nothing.
I'm looking for some participation here. Coherence. What else?
We learn how to cite.
You learn how to cite.
That's the only
What
thing
does
I
that mean?
learned. It means
Speak
me typing into Zotero how to cite. That's it.
Critical reflection.
Critical reflection. Now I like this. This is like really basic stuff here. We learn how to cite. Can someone talk about that?
Give credit where it's due.
Give credit to why do we cite?
Not to reinvent the wheel.
Not to reinvent the
To
wheel.
avoid
What?
plagiarism.
So you don't steal other people's ideas.
For transparency of information.
You don't get sued.
To be able to fact check.
To fact check. To give credit.
To Be transparent.
How do you cite?
APA.
MPLA. I like APA. But MPLA, where do you cite with MPLA?
MPLA? You mean MLA?
Wasn't the MPLA the sort of... Okay, forget that. The music MLA. Where do you cite with MLA?
Arts and Humanities.
No, where? Where in the paper?
Everywhere.
In text. Every sentence.
In the footnotes.
That's Chicago.
That's Harvard. Okay. Okay, let's talk about Harvard. Let's talk about citing in the footnotes. Okay? Okay. The footnotes. Very interesting. I haven't gotten to my big question yet. Okay? I want to talk about footnotes for a second. Footnotes are important. You're telling me why they're important. They give credit where credit's due. But there's another thing about footnotes, right? Footnotes tell a different story, right? Sometimes you just need to read the footnotes. And when you're doing something like something so important as making financial projections for anything, like a 5-year financial projection, say, for a little university like this, it's important to look at the footnotes. Right?
Yes.
Why is it important to look at the footnotes when you're reading a table of financial projections?
So this wouldn't happen.
No.
To understand where the numbers come from?
Yeah, and where do a lot of the numbers in a forward-looking financial projection come from?
Predictions.
Estimations. What else?
Guess.
Huh?
Guesses.
Guesses. Predictions.
Best.
Come on, someone's got it.
Imagination.
Assumptions. Assumptions about the future. We don't know the future. Not yet. There are assumptions embedded in footnotes of financial projections. Okay. We saw some financial projections for this university. It was released publicly, came into my inbox. It was sent by the ME, actually. Okay, well, I saw it. Someone sent it to me, right? And there were 12 footnotes in the financial projections. 12 footnotes. And so, as an anthropologist, I don't know much about numbers, so I immediately wanted to go first to the footnote, because there's a story in the footnote. And the story is, the assumptions are in the footnote. I'm looking for the footnote. I haven't even looked at the numbers yet. There are no bloody footnotes. We asked for the footnotes. We never got the footnotes. So here is my big question in response to my students' lecture title. Where are the footnotes? It's not that big a question, but I would like to see the footnotes. I would like to see the assumptions that the ME made in order to make those projections. What assumptions? Think about it. What type of assumptions would me make versus the type of assumptions that us would make? So I want to know what's in the footnotes. That's my big question. Where are the footnotes, Chef? Maybe he's here. He's in there. Okay. So, my one big question, where are the footnotes? Now, I am going to channel the spirit of an old colonial era guy named E. Evans Pritchard. I'm going to do it. And those of you who have studied witchcraft will know what I'm talking about. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going out on a limb. Here's the limb. You know, my colleagues are getting fired left, right, and center. I'm still standing. I'm still employed here, just for the record. I might be the only person left employed by this university. I don't know. But I'm still standing. I'm still teaching, and I'm still learning. With you guys. With us. Now, I'm going to go channel Evans Pritchard, and I'm going to think about witches and witchcraft, and I'm going out on a limb here. Here's my limb. I see the guy from PZC. Are you from PZC?
I'm from PZC.
Okay, you should listen now. I'm going out on a limb. And I'm going to channel E. Evans Pritchard. You should look up his work on witchcraft among the Azande in Sudan. It's interesting. Here's my limb. Come on, Evans Pritchard. Here we go. Here it is. There are no financial problems at the University College of us. That's what I'm going to say. There are no problems at the University College Roosevelt. I'm not saying that these are not difficult times economically and financially and that we maybe have to do something, but there are not financial problems at University College Roosevelt that require this type of bloodletting. There's one other thing I want to say. What is this then? If there are no financial problems? I don't know for sure. There's always that doubt because I still am waiting for the footnotes, Chef. Where are my footnotes? Our first semester students know about footnoting. Why are there no footnotes in the projection? Okay. The reason there are no footnotes, I'm going out on a limb, where's Evans Pritchard? Again, is because what we are witnessing here is a coup d'etat. This is a coup d'etat. And it's a coup d'etat of me trying to overthrow us. That's what this is. This is not a financial problem. And this coup d'etat that we are experiencing in this little place is happening everywhere. It's happening at Utrecht University where the human sciences, the us's, are being overthrown by the me's. And you know, we always hear about this problem of difference. That it's a problem of us and them. It's not a problem of us and them. It's a problem of us and me. So this is a coup d'etat that we are seeing all over this part of the world. And it's happening in this little place too, right now, at this little time, in that little room. And it's me trying to overthrow us. So, once again, my big question for today, for the first part of my lecture, is where are the footnotes? I need to take a drink of water.
Who's got water?
hang on one second. Okay. I'm an anthropologist, so I always like to question myself. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. But maybe I am. Before I get to the big idea, I first need to solve the €1 million deficit that seems to be the cause of all this bloodletting today, all these tears. And I'm going to now solve that problem for you. Right now, it's easy. It's really simple. And here is half of that solution. I'm not a very mathy guy, qualitative guy. Here's the math, though. One of the assumptions that I think is buried in that footnote that is missing in action, because I've heard the ME actually express it verbally not so long ago, is that the projections assume a 5% inflation rate. Yeah? Back then, when the reorganization was already taking place, they assumed a 5% inflation rate for their projections. Does anyone know what the inflation rate is right now?
2.
A few months on?
Yeah, 2.
It's 2%. Maybe it's 2.5%. Where are the math students here? We got a €12 million annual budget here, projection of spending. They say we're going to be $1 million in the hole in 4 years' time. Some math person, what's 5% of 12 million?
Oh gosh.
Hard question.
Huh?
60 or 600,000. 600,000.
Yeah, 600,000.
600,000. Okay. 600,000. Every year they're anticipating our expenses going up 600,000, but the assumption's wrong. It's only going to go up 2% from what we know now. So how much is the difference between that?
36,000.
How much?
36,000.
No.
360.
300. Okay. I've just saved the university. Let's call it 400,000 euros. The assumptions that are in the footnotes that we haven't seen are wrong, and therefore their accounting and projections are off target by 400,000. That's the first 5%. That's 400,000 of the million. Where's the extra 600,000 coming? I'm still employed, so I can make this pledge. I'm still employed. I get a salary every month. So I'm going to now close the other problem, the other 600,000 in this problematic 1 billion. Okay? I've got employment. I am going to be the first person to sign the 5% pledge. Now, I pledge, sorry honey, I haven't discussed this with you. But I'm pledging right now on the record for the PZC and for this little place and for us, the University College of Us, I pledge over the next 5 years for UCR, I pledge them a 5% of my salary, unsecured, subordinated loan. No interest. Let me explain that in simple terms. What does that mean? That means that I do not require collateral. That means I will not charge interest, and that means if UCR goes bankrupt, I cannot sue them to get my money back. And in 5 years' time, when this university is fine again, they can give me back my money. And I know that my colleagues here who have just been fired and may not have that privilege to sign the 5% pledge would do the same. And I'll tell you, some of your faculty members, you don't even know this. Some of them who have been here for 20 years have been making that pledge already. They've been giving part of their salary to the UCR Student Emergency Fund to help some of you who run into problems or your families. They give back part of their salary every month into that fund for you guys, and they've been doing it for 20 years and haven't said a word. I know there are other people out there who will sign after me. And I know there are businesses here who will pledge to give a 5% discount to every student who walks in there as a signer and partner to the fund. And I know there are some of you who can afford it. There's the first one right there. I've got 5 minutes. Oh, God. I'm being told that I am employed for 5 more minutes. So just hold on a second and let me make the pledge before I can't make it anymore. But there are companies around who can huh?
25 minutes.
Oh, I have 25 minutes.
15.
What is it?
It is 3:45.
My meeting's at 4:10, right?
25 minutes.
Huh?
25 minutes.
Yeah, but the mic's telling me I only have 5 minutes. Okay. I better make that 5% pledge. I've got 5 minutes to make 5% pledge.
25.
So I'm saying that there are enough people who will make a 5% unsecured, subordinated loan to this university, college, us, because we believe in UCR and we believe in us and we believe in what we've been doing here. And your parents will too, some of them.
Yeah.
Okay. So, if the auditors ever get a look at the footnotes, and the footnotes are okay, and there is somehow a justified €1 million gap, it doesn't exist anymore. We've just closed it. Or we will soon close it. So there is a way to keep going here. To stop these sacred spaces where we exchange ideas, where we share with one another, where we argue, where we disagree, where we offend, where we learn, where we touch, where we change one another. We can still keep these spaces. It's possible. It's not a financial problem. It's a coup d'etat. It's me trying to destroy us. That's what I think, my anthropological perspective, what I've learned about the world from trying to study how we live with one another, that's what it's telling me. And I already told you last time that those same perspectives was leading me to forget about math, which told me I only had a 1/3 of a chance of getting fired. Forget that science. My anthropology has told me that in 20 minutes, I'm going to get fired. There are other ways to do things, to know. And I know there are other ways to make this place work. And I know that us can and should push back against me. Okay. That's my one big question. I still have one big idea. But I have to first take a break, get a cup of coffee, and get fired. Okay? So I'm going to let some students come and keep teaching so that you guys can keep learning while I go inside, take a rest, have a cup of coffee, and get fired. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to keep doing what I do, which is teach and learn. I will be back here, whether I'm employed or not, and I will tell you what happens in there, because no one's allowed to go in there except me and my lawyer. And then I'm going to come back out here and tell you about all that. And then I'm going to, and I'm cheating here, I know I'm cheating, I'm going to work on my one big idea while I'm doing that, while I'm having my coffee, while I'm getting fired. I am going to think of one big idea for us. I promise, and I want to bring it back and tell you about it. So I turn it over to my students. Who's doing that?
During the break, Professor Friedman goes inside, grabs a cup of coffee, and indeed gets fired, just as he anticipated. When asked by his dean if he had any questions, he replies, yes, only one, but please give it some serious thought before answering. The only question I have for you is, what is your favorite color? He delivers a further message to the dean and then returns to the Helm Square to complete his lecture.
This is like unbelievable, because this is the story of me trying to commit a coup d'etat over us. The answer to the question, Chef, what is your favorite color? Was, I don't have one. You know why Chef and the ME do not have a favorite color?
Very indecisive.
Because me doesn't care. Me does not care. And when you don't care like me, you don't have a favorite color. I have to deliver a message to you from us. And I said this. I said, this is the message that I have to deliver. And I am so sorry for having to do this. And I know it's going to upset you. But this is the message. We have decided that your reorganization needs to be reorganized. I kid you not, this is what I said to him. And I said, I know that's hard for you to hear. And I know it's very upsetting. I understand that. It's difficult for me to tell you that. But you're a nice guy. You're another human being, just like me. So I'm sorry. I don't mean to offend you. And I don't mean to make you sad or upset. But we have to deliver the message to you that your reorganization needs to be reorganized. And I said, there's one other thing, and it might be a little bit more difficult for you. It might make you a little bit more upset. And I told him this. I said, along with this reorganization of your reorganization, we have to inform you that your position is at risk. I told him that. I know it's hard for you to stomach that, but your position at this University College Us is under threat. You just may have to leave. Now, I can't really tell you how me reacted to that message, but maybe when we drink a few beers together one day. Okay, now, the title of the lecture that I was challenged to give was, I did write it down. Let's see, what was the title? It was called One Big Question, One Big Idea, One Small Place, an introduction. Okay, I told you about my big question. What was that question?
Where are the footnotes?
Where are the footnotes? And I promised you a big idea. And here's the big idea. I was talking about sitting there in the cinema watching this film with Julia Roberts that takes place on some university campus somewhere. We're watching it, we're getting all teary-eyed, and we're getting that sort of sad, filmy sort of feeling. Yep. And then the realization that this is our film to write, that the ending hasn't been written yet. So here's the big idea. The big idea is that us cannot allow this coup d'etat by me, and that we will not allow it by me. And let me tell you how this story ends. And I'm going to propose that this story is slightly idealistic, but not really that idealistic. The ending of this story and the one big idea goes like this. University College Roosevelt in exile, renamed University College Us, continues to try to allow us to defeat me. And you young people, get your message out there. And it goes far. And there are lots of other people and young people near and far who are actually thinking about us and cannot figure out why me is winning. And they will hear you. And if you broadcast your message, because this is not a message for UCR. This little place has a big message to deliver. And that message is that there should still be places for us. There should still be sacred spaces for the human sciences, the humanities, the social sciences, the critical scientists who ask big questions in little small places like this all across this country. That's the message. And there are so many people who have not heard that message yet. And you all, this little place, like little places change people. It changed the world. This little place will get that message out. You little people at this little time will get that message out. And those people will hear you. Okay? And we'll get rid of me. The M-E is gone. We will get rid of the E. And we will put us in place.
Woo! Woo!
Here is how the story ends. Here is how the story ends. Us is back in place. But because all those other us's that you get the message out to, they will hear this little place. And you come from all around the world, and you're young people in India, and in Kenya, and in Morocco, everywhere, will get word of this little place. And those people back home are going to be like, whoa! There is this little place on this little island, in this little province, in that little country, where being together as us in little sacred spaces, coming together as different people, asking big questions, sometimes stupid questions, engaging with one another, challenging one another, sometimes offending one another, but nonetheless coming together and touching one another exists. Woo! And you know how it ends? All those other us's out there are going to be like, I want to be there in that little place. The applications will roll in. I promise you. They will be here. And no, even if there is something interesting in those footnotes, which I don't think there are. And anyway, I've pledged 5%, but I've been fired, so I don't know if I can still... No, I'm still sticking to that 5%. They will come. And then we will have plenty of students. And we will need more faculty. And all of those dear colleagues who thought they were unemployed will come back and teach all those young people how to be human together. So that is my big idea in this little place. Let me just close. One big question, one big idea, one little place. Thank you, guys. See you tomorrow for school.
The educational reorganization at University College Roosevelt is reflective of countless similar processes currently taking place at universities all around the world. Defend the right to ask big questions in all little places. Help preserve the humanities and social sciences. Preserve liberal arts and science education.